There's a lot on productivity because there's a topic that is one of the three key thrusts that Minister Daman has talked about in the Parliament. The sense I have today, one of the key areas that has been talked about is foreign levy. While there's no quota for foreign levy, but I think the concern, as I heard from the group, is that given the foreign levy to be increased, though there's over a period of time, the concern is while you want to keep productivity high, meaning reducing business costs and make everyone more productive, but the increase of foreign levy could well be a concern because some businesses do still rely on foreigners and foreign talents and foreign workers. And for that group of companies in certain sector, probably it's very hard for them, to adjust to that, sooner than what they wanted to. For example, the health sector, there's the one that has been highlighted. For health sector, if you want foreign workers, you cannot increase productivity overnight. So they still have to rely on that source of foreign workers. And by increasing the levy, they are quite concerned. And in fact, one panelist asked whether they can be exempted, meaning for those companies and organizations from health sector to be exempted from having this foreign levy to be imposed on them. I think certainly for SME, it's important for them to cross border and grow their business, and in doing so, they need financing. But the issue of financing is one of the free market forces. In that today there are already a lot of schemes given by our big bankers to provide this SME certain financing. So for the government to interfere in that aspect, I think it's something that needs a lot more study to be done before they can consider doing so. But I think given the current scheme given by the many banks, be it local banks or foreign banks, it's probably quite adequate. Of course, more can be done to help this SME to go forward. I think the issue is looking at this group of panelists that we have. I think straight away the first topic on productivity. A lot of our panelists are quite, familiar with that topic. I think looking at the panelists, it's probably more of the background of the panelists that when it comes to tax relief, this is an area that they are probably just see that it's something that has been done, but it's nothing new that they're expecting. I think that's why towards the end I raised a question with one of the CPA firm partner, because given the variety of clients that he is serving, I was hoping that he could give some input. But again, given what he said, from his clientele, it seems that the tax relief granted by this budget, seems to be quite well covered.
Well, Melody, I did enjoy myself today in the discussion, not so much because of, just having the feedback and all that, but what clearly was evident from today's discussion is that there has been good thought by all the panelists in terms of looking at the impact of what the Budget 2010 is about, and more importantly also helping and sharing with us areas by which the budget could be, the initiatives that have been announced could be effectively implemented and executed. And I think that's going to be key for us to be successful. I think we discussed a whole broad range of areas, and I would say there was not one particular highlight, although I did enjoy Mr. Sung's brief and he gave us of his perspective of Budget 2010 and also his perspective of 2009. But more importantly, I thought there was a good mix of the issues as well as the initiatives discussed. And clearly there are opportunities for us to look at how we refine those as well as implement them effectively to really drive both the short-term, be able to tap the short-term opportunities, and more importantly ensure that we then can build the base for the longer-term sustainability of growth. The challenge, though, that was brought out across the room was really how do we ensure that the intent of the initiatives really achieve what, through the implementation, really achieve what the intent was set out for. And there were good examples across, you heard, for both local companies, large and small, as well as foreign companies or MNCs that are operating in Singapore. I'm quite sure throughout the budget debates we will hear a lot of details about really how we transition this, I think many have agree that we need to be managing the dependency on foreign talent, but at the same time the importance of foreign talent. So I think there is a good balance and there is a recognition of that. But the discussion we had today was really around how we could ensure that as we manage this, that we don't we take into account the transitions that companies have to go through and the impact on those, for example, in the healthcare sector that was brought up, where there is a heavy dependency on the caregivers, on foreign talent for that will have an impact. In short term, how do we manage that transition as we build up the local capabilities? And what they're asking for is really flexibility on some of it. So in some of it, it's the cap that is put in. Others, it's really expanding it to cover more sectors. So there has been good suggestions in those areas. So we will be bringing some of that across.